Good morning. Thanks for joining them with us and waking up with you here. We got Jamison Euler, Sarah, Amanda Pappas, and Caitlin, and waking up with Hurricane Milton, and nothing. Yes, not much has changed since we went to sleep here. So we got winds now up to 160 miles per hour sustained, moving northeast at 14 miles per hour, and there's that pressure at 907 millibars. And the pressure with this, when you see a pressure that low, that's never a good sign. So as we've been talking, as this makes a move toward Florida, a lot of the models have come in pretty good agreement that we will see a landfall in the Tampa Bay area, especially as you head toward areas maybe a little south of the mouth of Tampa Bay. So we'll continue to watch that track. But at this point, with a powerful storm like this, it looks like just unfortunately major impacts for all of us here in Tampa Bay, not only for us, but all the way down into South Florida, Central and North Florida to the East Coast, because Milton's so powerful, it's going to hold together as a hurricane as it crosses. In fact, it likely will be a Category 4, it looks like now, as it moves toward Tampa Bay, Bradenton, Sarasota, watching you carefully, and then making that move to the East Coast could hold together, maybe even as a Category 2 by the time it heads to the east. So as we look at this overall forecast, you see the big impacts, big swath of impacts from the Keys all the way up into Georgia at this time. There's our Category 5 this morning. And as we look at that landfall, still looks like about 2 a.m., maybe a little sooner, 2 a.m. tonight, first thing tomorrow morning. And there's that Cat 4, and then it'll move off more to the east as it crosses our state. So our inland counties, don't let your guard down. Polk County, I'm watching you. Hardy, DeSoto County, like we've seen with so many hurricanes, like we saw with Ian, okay? We could see some big wind impacts, power outages, things like that, and intense rainfall and flooding, especially just to the north of this eye wall. It looks like this will be weighted heavy to the north as it moves to the east, because there will be some wind shear and dry air. So unlike many hurricanes that have some of the biggest impacts to the south, this could actually have the biggest impacts to the north, where most of us are here in Tampa Bay and in the Tampa Bay area. So we take a look now as this moves off to the east. We're going to have big impacts again starting this afternoon and especially tonight. That does include not just the storm surge we've been talking about this morning, but that freshwater flooding. Notice I-4 North especially showing that swath of, unfortunately, very heavy rain and flash flooding. As far as the models, we're saying they're still coming into agreement, but it does look like, as we look at the American or GFS and the Euro model, you see not much difference here. Unfortunately, coming right toward the mouth of Tampa Bay, maybe meandering just to the south. But again, at this point, we're watching the storm surge very carefully. And it looks like even areas just to the north of where that makes landfall, there will be a deadly storm surge. Could extend all the way up into Pasco County based on how strong this system is as it's making that move off to the east and northeast. So there's the eye wall. You can kind of make it out here as we head towards 7 o'clock tonight. And meteorologist Amanda Pappas is here, and she's going to take us through this depiction here. And this is what the radar, one of our models that shows what the radar will look like at 7 o'clock tonight, Amanda.
Yes, exactly right, Mike. So what we see, Futurecast, we want to give you a heads up. Heading into right now, we do see that there is no major storm right now outside. We see more of that lighter drizzle on radar, but those stronger storms with bands of rain and wind will start to kick up heading into later this afternoon into the evening hours. Conditions will deteriorate after 6 o'clock. You can see all this red here. That's the eye wall. This is getting to our closest approach right around 9 o'clock. You can see the system is pushing into our area. Take a look at the tons of rainfall to the north of this system. This is going to cause freshwater flooding, not just for us here locally, like Mike was mentioning. We're talking about Polk County. We're talking about all the way to Orlando and even towards the East Coast for Daytona Beach. They're going to be seeing a lot of this rainfall leading to flash flooding. The system will gradually then continue to cut across the state, like we've been saying, like a buzzsaw. And with it, it's going to continue to maintain most of its strength. It weakens as it's cut off from its energy source, but still maintaining that hurricane strength as it is crossing over into the Atlantic. You can see it's going to move as we head into 3:30 a.m. tomorrow morning. It'll be nearing towards Daytona Beach and pushing off into the Atlantic by later in the morning hours on Thursday. So Futurecast showing us that big picture there. So we know the system will make landfall heading into late tonight. The models, like Mike was showing you, not in 100% agreement just yet, but as that system nears our coast and gets closer and closer heading into this afternoon and evening, we'll have a much better idea of that exact location and the exact timing. But right now, that exact location, landfall, looks like it could be over towards Sarasota as a Category 4 and then continues to move inland, crossing right across Polk County, a place that always constantly gets impacts from these systems, even though it is far inland. in. And remember, the deadliest part of the system is going to be storm surge. And the most deadly storm surge we see with this system is going to be just to the south of it. You can see right here over towards Charlotte Harbor, and for portions of Sarasota County, that's where we see that 10 to 15 foot surge. For us here, 9 to 13 feet still deadly, still more than what we saw for Helene. So that's why we're telling you need to evacuate now. But here you go. The numbers you can see all the way even into the Panhandle. They have that threat for surge, and even over towards the East Coast as this thing cuts across like the buzzsaw we're mentioning, 3 to 5 feet of surge over towards Daytona, the Space Coast, even 1 to 3 over towards Fort Pierce, And as this system shifted and had more of that wobble, it shifted a little more southward. Remember, every wobble is so important in terms of impacts. Who sees them? Who sees the most, of course? We are still very much in the cone. So even though our numbers came down a little bit for that surge, it's still well above where it was for Helene. So please take this with you. And just remember, right now, you need to stay in your safe spot. Please, your window to evacuate is closing right now. So get out if you are in an evacuation zone. We have deadly storm surge coming to our area. Tonight, the storm surge will start as those winds shift out of the southwest, freshwater flooding, and the power outages begin late tonight as well as the system begins to make landfall. Thursday, the flash flooding is going to be an issue. Widespread power outages that could last into next week and major impacts to most of Florida. And you can see the rain already here. That's the beginning of the impacts. This wind field so massive, and that's why we're saying the entire state is going to feel those windy conditions. And those power outages are possible because of, look at this, maximum wind speeds 111. So look at these county by county impacts. We do know that most of them are going to be starting later the farther north you are, but the major impacts for Pinellas and Hillsborough, 80 and 110-mile-per-hour winds, rainfall up to 16 feet, and that storm surge at 9 to 13 feet.
Yeah, nothing to play around with as you look at those numbers this morning. You can see it on our faces, too. I know a lot of people anxious at home this morning. We're just trying to keep you prepared for this storm. And again, if you need to evacuate, now is the time to do that. We've been watching the roadways this morning, very light traffic. So we do see that a lot of people have gotten out of Dodge ahead of this storm, and that is what we do want to see. Yep. Our Nick Valturo is live for us right now in Holmes Beach this morning. Nick, I know you've seen the debris down there, too. That's another big part of the story right now is that from Hurricane Helene, we saw so much damage in our area, and we just haven't had the time to really clean all of that up. So that is another reason why I just got to get to a safe place and away from that.
Yeah, absolutely, Caitlin. And speaking of safe places, we have lightning coming down right now out here, so definitely conditions are deteriorating. The one thing, we have spoken with police, and right now it is very deserted out here. It's eerily quiet. It's looking like a ghost town, and police say that is a really good thing because that means people heeded those evacuation orders and got out of Dodge while they were able to. So the streets are still clear, and if you take a look, you can see one of the big things that we're still dealing with. These mountains and mountains of sand that washed out from the beach are still piled up over on this side, and on the other side you just see these enormous piles of debris from cabinets to glass tabletops to mattresses. And of course, when we're talking about those high gusting winds, those high sustained winds, this is one of the biggest concerns. So of course, police are extremely happy that people have heeded those evacuation orders and got out of here before these conditions got even worse. For right now, reporting live in Manatee County, Nick Valturo, 10 Tampa Bay.
All right, Nick, thank you so much. And if this track holds up, Holmes Beach is going to be doing a lot more cleaning up after Milton is long gone. Before we go to break, we want to show you this number. You can get county by county emergency information by texting the word HOME to 727-577-8522. I'll give you a second to pull your phone out and take a picture of this number if you need it. Again, text the word HOME to 727-577-8522. We'll send you a link straight to your phone with all of the information that you will need. 10 Tampa Bay will be back right after this.